week ago, I asked you all, could you ask me a question? And I will answer them. Well, you've asked your questions, and this is me answering them questions. So I haven't got any idea what they are. I've not looked at them at all. This is the first time I'm going to see them. It's been very hard not to see them or not to look at them. I think I've had quite a few questions. Hopefully, I've got comments on there, and I hope they're all questions of ones that I can read out online. I'm going to go through them from the top on my phone, from the top to the bottom. Going to answer them all, and I'm also going to obviously give shout outs if there's any ones that I recognise that are a channel. I will give a shout out to the channel, and I will try and put a link to all those channels in the video down below. If they're not there straight away, I will be working on that throughout the course of the day, because I'm hoping to get this video straight done and straight up. This is now Tuesday, I believe, although I don't know, I haven't got a clue what day or year or anything. Sorry, it's Wednesday. There you go. So, okay, it's freezing cold here, hence the hat. So first off is Jambo Shango, and that's James. So, hello James, you alright? And the question was, hey pal, what are the top 5 films you couldn't live without? Well, I would have to say would it be me top 5 films of all time? Possibly, but I would say probably, obviously Down by Law, which is my favourite film of all time. I'd have to put a horror in there, so I put Zombie, the Lucio Fulci Zombie, for a horror. For comedy, Young Frankenstein, because I can watch that countless times. Just watch it the other day. Let's think. This is the tough question. That's only the first question as well. So 2 other ones. I would have to say a Kubrick film. So I'm going to say Lolita by Kubrick, which I really enjoyed at the minute. And last but not least, I would say a film I can watch over and over again would be, there's a lot of them in there, I would say a Bruce Lee film, The Way of the Dragon. So there you go. That's a hard one when you put in the spot. But thanks, James. The next one is for the Love of Movies. Now that's a channel I'm going to link down below as well. I'm going with the music element of your video. What movie do you think has the best soundtrack? The best soundtrack, well, I would say if you're going for ones with soundtracks, I would say it would probably be Reservoir Dogs, as a sort of complete picking songs that go with the film and they just fit with the film. It was like a bit of a revelation when the Reservoir Dogs came out using that particular music. It was very cool that no one had ever heard any of them songs. Well, I hadn't personally heard them songs, and I think of myself as being able to hear lots of songs. So I would say Reservoir Dogs for soundtrack, as in songs that are put into the soundtrack, and I would say for an actual soundtrack to the film, it would be Deep Red by Dario Argento. Great question. HorrorHands. Hello Bryn, you alright? I'll leave a link down to HorrorHands' channel. Great channel again. Great drumming John. Thanks. My question is, what is the prize possession in your movie collection? Well, I would say at the moment the prize one, well, maybe it usually when I get the brand new thing, it becomes really the prize possession, and then they kind of move on down the line. So at the moment you could probably say it's a Dawn of the Dead box set, but ones that is like a prize possession in my movie collection would be, it'd probably be something that's like massively out of print and you can't physically get for love nor money. There's going to be a lot of me wondering about these questions. They're great questions, by the way. What's the prize possession in your movie collection? It's, at the moment, it might have been Gamera if I got my hands on Gamera, but that's actually, it's a toss up between the Godzilla box set from Criterion, and the Dawn of the Dead box set. I know I've just got them things, and there's probably there's a deep thing in there which I really like. And also, I will say as well, another thing, the surprise possession in my movie collection is an autograph of Gunnar Hansen, who was the original Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, coupled with Ingrid Pitt and an autograph of Ingrid Pitt, who was a Hammer legend. So I'm going to put them 4 things in there, and out of them I would say probably Gunnar Hansen's, on reflection, Gunnar Hansen's autograph. I mean, wow, you can't get much more horror than that. Thanks very much, Bryn. My good friend Koroshiya Ichi, who's been a subscriber on my channel probably from day one. What made you start collection movies on physical media? Well, I would have to say that before you could do that, you just couldn't do it. And I used to look in comics, and in comics sometimes they would say you can buy this reel of film and you can project it in your own house, and it was usually Jaws. And I used to sit there and think, imagine being able, and I used to have a wall which was covered in posters, and I used to think that wall would be the wall that I project my cinema onto it, knowing that it would probably never ever happen, but it was a bit of a pipe dream for me when I was about 9. So I always had the idea that I wanted to collect things, and when it became available in, I would say to me, in the early 80s, I couldn't wait to start collecting stuff and owning it and saying, this is my film, I own this film, and I can look at this film whenever I want. Because remember, until then, excuse me, until the mid 80s when video players came out, there was no way for the general public to sort of just watch a film on demand. Whenever you wanted to pick a film out, you just couldn't do it. So being able to do that was a massive revelation to me, and I loved the feeling of that. So I would say the thought of owning films, owning a movie and having it at your fingertips and being able to put it on. If you want to watch it 100 times a day, you could do it. If you didn't want to watch it till 3 years' time, you could do it. I love the sort of power of that, if that's an answer. But thanks very much, Koroshiya. Great question. Bushman Blu, hello Bushman. He's got a great channel. I will link that down below, and also been a subscriber for a long time. Hi John, my question is a simple one. Do you still own your very first DVD and Blu-ray you bought, or do you remember them? Wow. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I think it was on somebody else's somebody else had put this into a video. I think it was Movie Worm actually, and I thought, what would be my first ever? I know what my first Blu-ray is, and I don't think I've got it, but the first Blu-ray I got, well, I got 3 Blu-rays, and I bought them with the player, my first Blu-ray player, and they were given with the disc player, and they were Mamma Mia, which I watched actually, and I didn't really enjoy, although I do like ABBA. Rush Hour with Jackie Chan, and the third one was Wall-E. Now Wall-E is still there. I still got the disc from that, and in Rush Hour, I think my son's got it, or I might have it, but I don't think I have. Although I do like the Rush Hour films, I'm sure he's got them over there in his collection. I'm probably giving them to him. So I would say that's what I got. The first one that I actually physically bought, I couldn't tell you, but it would have been in the late 90s, and I probably haven't still got it, but I don't recall what that is. But I know that's the first 3 that I ever got, and the one that I've only got personally from that is Wall-E. First DVD would have to be, I'm going to say it would obviously been, I just think I didn't get any. The DVD I would have got with a DVD player would be, I can't honestly remember that one, but that would have been my first DVD player. Must have been in the early 90s when I got that. No, sorry, yes, early 90s for my DVD, late 90s for my Blu-ray. I know my first 4K film, if you want to know that one, was I'm going to say that was 2001 was my first ever 4K that I bought. But thanks very much for that, Bushman Blu. The Lost Boy. Hello there, you alright? I've recently subscribed to Lost Boy and he's got a great channel. I'll link that down below. How long have you been playing drums and will you do a video at some point? The answer is yes, I'm dying to do a video. What I'm trying to do is I've got this little thing called an iRig, and you can load up, you can push this, you can plug this into the drums and run that through and put it in. I'm hoping here, I used to have it on my other mobile phone, but these days you don't have an output for a headphone, so I can't use this phone with it, the iRig, and then you record your drums straight on it. If you saw that clip that was on here, that was done with my iRig thing. So yes, I will be recording drums. I'm going to try, actually in the next couple of days, I'm going to try the iRig to see if it works on here, and I can just record it straight onto here and then edit it. So the answer is yes, I will be recording some more drums videos, and I can do much more in a drumming one. Whatever anybody wants to see, just ask us what you would like to see, maybe on this thread. And how long I've been playing the drums? I've been playing the drums since I was 14. A friend of mine who was going to be the singer, I was on the singer on my band, who I've been in the band with forever. He's called Wolfie Warploy, and Wolfie was a drummer in a band called the Warploys, and they were a great punk band from Newcastle, very infamous they were. And he told me, I used to think I could play the drums and I was hopeless, and he told me how to play the drums, and between the pair of us we got into drumming from being utterly pathetic to very competent. I think we're both, and he's an excellent musician. He can put his hand to anything, which you'll see on later videos. I've got a lot of clips from Wolfie Warploy playing stuff which I'm going to put in the videos forthcoming. But thanks very much, Lost Boy. So since I was 14, and yes, for a video, that's definitely coming up. Thanks very much for that. Next one's from Leon Talks Film. Great friend of mine, Leon. His channel's going from strength to strength, quite rightly, because he's got a great channel. I'll link that down below, and I urge you to check him out. He's going places. Young lad, and he's got a great delivery. Great video, John. Thanks very much. It's always great to hear other musicians on YouTube. I actually have 2 questions for your Q&A video. First, what is your most memorable experience in the cinema? Positive or negative? I always love to hear stories like that. Well, actually, as soon as I'm going to say it's a positive and negative. This one, again with my good friend Wolfie Warploy, we decided for some reason, back in the day you could see strange things in the cinema. You could just we liked the thought of going to an all-night cinema, so we went to an all-night cinema in 1984, and they played 4 or 5 films back to back, and you just watched them from literally 8 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning. So we went into this cinema and it was just full of kids, and we went and we watched, and there was definitely Gremlins was there. There was a Burt Reynolds film, which I can't remember what it was called. It was a comedy with Clint Eastwood, Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood. What was that called again? There was a couple other films. We quite enjoyed them. I think we fell asleep during certain ones of them, but the most memorable part of it was where we were sitting. We were sitting quite far back, and in the front of the thing was a gang of skinheads. Well, we were all right. We were all punked up and we just looked like mess anyway, so they weren't causing grief with anybody, but they just went and wrecked the cinema. They started off by sitting in the cinema and putting their feet against the next row of chairs, and they just smashed them, and then they started picking them up and throwing them all over the place. And I think the people who had the cinema didn't do anything about it, and eventually they calmed down, and then they might have went out or they fell asleep, and there was people asleep on us, and we were sitting there, and me Wolfie's saying, look at this, someone's laid over them. So it was just absolutely nuts. It's something that I didn't really think about when I went in. I think it was just going to be like a massive free-for-all fight, but it kind of was, but wasn't really, because no one had a fight. It was just massive criminal damage, and it's so bizarre, and it always sticks in my mind. Probably not the greatest, but the most memorable thing that's ever happened in a cinema. It got smashed up during an all-night cinema. Wow. And second, what's a film you consider underrated or underappreciated? by most people and absolutely love. Well, I could put a lot of films into that. Currently, I would say, there's films that I really like that are, you could consider, awful, and a film that I'm hearing, I personally think is a brilliant film, but I'm hearing a lot of people when they see it, they just don't care for it whatsoever. Now I'm going to say that one is Burial Ground, 1980, and it's over there somewhere in the Italian classics, and I personally think it's one of the best films I've ever seen. It's just got everything in it you could ever want, but a lot of people don't like that film. Maybe, I'm not saying they don't get it, but maybe they've got to take it from the way of just going and just thinking it's utter trash. But some of the scenes, and especially with the young fella Peter Bark, who's a grown bloke who's meant to be a kid, is something you've got to see to believe. And if you like that film, you'll love it. And I think it's, off the top of my head, I think it's very underrated for the fact it should be in everybody's top 10 for zombie horror films. Great question. Thanks very much, Leon. Carlinio 9, my good friend Carl, has been a subscriber to my channel for a long time, and he's got a great channel. I subscribed to him maybe before I even had my channel, when I was putting my stuff out. And good friend, and I urge you to go to his channel. I'll link down below, obviously. Quality John, thank you. Great drumming, really good, my friend. Well, thanks a lot. I've been doing it a long time, so I don't think I've got to the point where I would like to get to, but I always try to practice. This year I haven't been able to practice that much because of the fact of having flooring done in the house. But I was in there the other day doing a sort of bit of a practice session where I was trying to, just for speed and durability, which is always a problem when you get older. You start to like lose the speed and the sort of dexterity. So I've been in there and I was trying to get me double bass drums going as fast as I could, and I got them going quite good and quite consistent as well. So I plan to get me double bass drum back to the speed it was. A very different video, brilliant video showing your challenge. Really enjoyed rocking out. Well, thanks very much. There's no actual question there, but I'll say that in the way of drumming, there's a lot more to come with drumming, and I can even take you through how you see, I was going to say I can do a video of how do you start drumming. How would you pick a drumstick up and then say, right, this is what I'm gonna drum now. It's just not that easy. If you've got it in you, you can drum. If you haven't, it'll take some time. You might get it, you might not. My son picked it up really well. He's a great drummer. But can you or can't you? Anyway, I could do a drumming video, but the only thing is when it goes out live and it's in YouTube, there's that many people. I did have another channel, I did put some drumming stuff on that years ago, and it's amazing how much hate you get for putting stuff out. When I put some stuff out, my son's 8, this is him drumming, got loads and loads of good feedback, but some bad feedback, so I had to delete had to turn the comments off for that one, which was a shame really, because he's only a young lad. He didn't say anything, he didn't understand them, he wouldn't care less now. He's a big bloke, he's a big meathead. But anyway, yes, so definitely more drumming stuff, Now I've got one here from NossaGenreCult. Now I'm sure he's a new subscriber, so hello and welcome along. Great vid, thank you very much. Bassist here, so I can appreciate it. I like everybody, but I like musicians. Always have that, you know, like the musicians sort of navigate the musicians. There's a lot of, you'd be surprised at how many people actually can play musical instruments really well, and you just don't think. 1. Your top 5 giallo films. It's my favourite genre. It's a great genre as well. It's a genre that I didn't know anything about till my good friend Holgos73 showed me, said, have a look at this, and I went, wow, this is something else. So I've had to have a quick look on the shelves to refresh my memory. So I'm going to go for that answer. For the 5 favourite giallo films is Deep Red, definitely number 1. I'm going to say as well in there, I'm going to put Blood and Black Lace, got to have a Mario Bava film in there. I'm going to say what's it called? I've just seen it. Lucio Fulci film. There's 2 Lucio Fulci films, Don't Torture a Duckling and Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Love that film as well. Loved it a lot more when I saw it recently. And the last one is going to be A Blade in the Dark. So that's the top 5. I could probably go a lot more into the giallo things, because when I'm trying to think of them, it's pretty hard to think there's that many in them. But it's a great genre, very good genre, Nossa. So question 2 is your favourite 5 rock/metal/punk bands. Cheers. Now this has been a great set of questions here, Nossa. Very hard to answer actually off the top of your head. But number 1 with a bullet is the Misfits. Love the Misfits. Can't get enough of them. I would like to see them tour in the UK. Will it ever happen? I don't know. I would like to think so, but every time you ask them, they say no. The Dickies. The Dickies is a band that I've seen countless times. Love them. Always loved them from day one, from when I was a kid in the 70s. Always liked the Dickies just because they were, at that time, they were so fast. I just love fast music. And that brings me on to my next choice, which would be Slayer. They are the best thrash metal band of all time in my opinion. They're so good. They're not into death metal speed, which is alright. I don't mind death metal to a certain extent, but sometimes it becomes ridiculously fast. I prefer the ones that, I think the kind of, some of the death metal is a bit cheaty fast, whereas this is about as fast as you can get by playing properly, if you know what I mean. Not like cheat beats. Then I'm going to move on to rock band. I'm going to say Weezer. I've got a big soft spot for Weezer, but I don't think they're that good at the minute. I think they went really poppy, unfortunately. And the last one I'm going to say in that band, as rock, I'm going to say is Wasp. Really like Wasp. You could say they're more like shock rock, but for some reason I just think they're great. I prefer them early stuff, of course. I've seen them live as well. They were absolutely brilliant. I want to go and see them again. I was going to see them this year, but of course that got put by the by. But next year, hopefully, all things being good, we'll get the live gigs back. I'm going to take my hat off now. Is my hair alright? Yeah. Because it's absolutely boiling now. So the next question is, and thanks very much, NossaGenreCult. I'll put a link down to your, if you've got a channel, I'll put a link down to your channel as well. That's a great question there. It took a lot of time to get me through that one. It really did. Very good it was. The next one is from a subscriber, Paul Burbeck. Now Paul asked, "Hi John, my questions are, where do you place George Romero on a best director list? And are you a Candyman fan? Thanks." Well, good questions. George A. Romero is a horror director. It's funny, the films I like of George A. Romero are, Martin, the Dead films, not so much the later Dead films. I do like a few of his other films that aren't really in that genre, but the ones he does that I like, I love, and I think he directs them amazingly, especially Dawn of the Dead. The ones that I don't like of his films, I don't really rate at all, or I don't watch. So you can see it's a bit, I don't like to say George A. Romero is a bit hit and miss, but some of the films that I'm not really interested in of his, I don't really take any notice of. So for me, as a horror director, I think he would be a bit lower on the list, but that's by no means a slur on him at all, because when he does a film good, he does a film to an exceptional standard. And I've got a lot of time for his films because I know he put a lot of stuff into them, and he's also a really nice fellow as well. So it's a bit hard to say exactly where it would be. He wouldn't be, I don't think he might be in my top 10, just in my top 10 if I had to say that, but that sounds a bit like a disservice to him, but it's not really, because I haven't seen all of his films, and some of the films that he's done that don't really connect with us, I don't really like, but the ones that I do like and watch, I watched them over and over again. So that says a lot for the fella. I can't wait to get Martin on Blu-ray as well, because it's coming out, but it's a bit overdue. And are you a Candyman fan? Well, the short answer is no, and people are going to go, but let me explain. I watched Candyman way back in the day, and I didn't like it. I don't know what it was, it just didn't connect with us. And I know it's come out and it's got all these special editions. And everybody who watches it now loves it. So it's got my interest up to say, well, I will go and revisit it. It's not top me list, but it's not ones that I will go mad over. and I need to watch it again to see why I didn't like it in the first place, if that's a question, if that's an answer. But I would say not really, but I am open to being, sometimes you can go back to a film that you really disliked back in the day and you watch it now with a fresh head and you're older and you think, well, it was all right. I know that many people go on about it and that many people like it, that I think it is due for a rewatch. But if I don't like it, then unfortunately, I don't think I've got any interest in paying for a big special edition for it. I think that's why I put it off. But I will see if I can get it cheap and just reinvestigate it. So short answer is not really, but I'm open to being my arm twisted to say I'm going to reevaluate it. But thanks very much, Paul. Great question. Next one is from my good friend Tony at Sinister Arts and Movies. The best, for me, the best artist on YouTube in our community. His stuff is just amazing. I'm going to put a link down below to his stuff. And he's got a competition out at the minute to win some art prints, which I'm going to set a video up for this week because it ends this week. So I urge you to go across that. I'll put the video link in there for his collection, his competition. So put yourself in for that. His phone's pinging. Holly Willoughby has posted on Instagram. There you go. Excellent drumming, mate. Thanks very much. I do think if someone said to us, what is the instrument you're best at, it would be the drums, because that's the thing I've done for the longest time. That's the thing I've been more interested in than any. I played the drums a long time before I could master anything to do with a bass or a guitar. My question is, what made you want to start YouTube? Well, that is a brilliant question. And I think the thing that made me want to start YouTube is because when I used to watch YouTube all the time for music. I used to watch things about my favourite music bands, how to play along to a song, how to create a drum beat. Because sometimes when you've got a drum beat in your head and you try and do it on the drums, sometimes you can't get it. And it's great to go on YouTube and then you get it broken down for you. And when you get broken down, you always think of drumming as it's a bit like a chord. And if you know that chord or that certain way to do things, and then you practice it slowly and you can get it with a certain speed, then you've cracked it. So I used to be always on YouTube. And then what made me want to start a YouTube channel was I started to see videos from the likes of Big Paulie and Jamie Powell. And I thought to myself, I didn't know there was that type of genre was out there for people just to say, look, this is my collection, this is the video, this is the Blu-ray I've been watching, I'm reviewing this film. I didn't think that was a thing, and I thought, you know what it is? And I'm going to talk about something I think that Leon from Leon Talks Films mentioned in one of his videos, is that it's great when you've got a collection of friends who are into movies and you can share those opinions. And I've got a good friend, Holgos73, that we meet all the time, and we talk about incessantly in the meeting about movies and about stuff, and we'll go through films, and he comes here and he looks through them, we try some films out and we study them, and it's great. But unfortunately, in your life, you don't meet many people like that, like-minded people. There's loads of like-minded people on here, but there's not that many people in my life that do that. And there's nothing worse when you've got some really, you're salivating over some title that you've got. Say I've just got the new Dawn of the Dead box set, and I can't wait to tell someone about it. And you go to work, and nobody has got doesn't care less about this stuff. And you say, hey, I've got this, and they go, and that's the end of that conversation. It's kind of lost. So this is another thing where I thought, this like-minded stuff, I would just put this stuff on here, and hopefully, I thought, I would meet some like-minded people, and I would just have a few comments, and maybe some people would watch it and they would say, well, I like this, or have you tried this? But that happened, but far beyond my wildest dreams. It's just getting better and better and better. So this is kind of my avenue to talk to people, to say, look, this is my stuff, what do you think? And it's just navigating into this is why things like Q&As. if I went and do a Q&A at work, it would last a minute because nobody would ask any questions. Nobody would want to know any questions. And if I said, oh, my favourite film is Down by Law by Jim Jarmusch, they would say, never heard of it, it must be rubbish. So that's a short question, but on here you can have a good thing, and you can navigate to other people's channels. And some channels on here are so watchable that I can't get enough of them. It's the only thing I do watch. I don't watch television anymore. I watch movies and YouTube, and that's it. Maybe some few programs on telly, but there's anything that I watch on telly that's worth anything, if I'm honest. So it's just a case of just meeting like-minded people like yourself who have great collections and see, Tony here has got a great talent, one that I like. I'm not a drawer. I do like to draw, but it's very, very limited. But my friend Holgos73, he's a brilliant drummer as well. He's a brilliant artist as well, really good. So for me, it seems to be this art and horror and talking about things seem to be a big thing. So for me, the whole thing of it is that just to meet like-minded people, and I have met like-minded people who share my interest, and I can talk about my interests at my length, at my leisure, and get feedback from, and feel as if people are interested and listening as I am to other people's channels. So that's the whole community aspect of it. I didn't expect that to happen. I just expected me to put a video on, and every now and again you get a comment on it. But now this has went past all my expectations, and I'm going to say as well, if you're watching this and thinking of doing a channel, do it, because you'd really be surprised at how quick you get embraced into the community. This community here just embrace you, and then you're part of the community, and then you just flourish. Like all these channels are flourishing at the minute. Brilliant. So that's a great question, Tony. So thanks for watching part one. I've had to break this into some parts because there is no way that I can do this all in one go, because this is great. I'm really enjoying this, but I can't think that somebody's going to sit for an hour of listening to me answering questions. So I'm going to break these up into bite-sized pieces. So I'm just filling in a couple of ending scenes here. So thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next part. Cheers.